So pretty big news. Well, maybe not all that surprising, but Bryce Young is officially benched for Andy Dalton. I think it's officially official that Panthers trade with the Chicago Bears is probably the worst one in NFL history. And granted, Caleb hasn't looked great the first 2 weeks, but I'm sure he'll improve and I'm sure he'll be a solid starter at least, if not become a really, really good quarterback in this league one day. So, yeah, man, I was even thinking about that trade last night, and I completely forgot that they just added DJ Moore in that trade as like almost like a throwaway. Like, it's one thing to like swap all those draft picks and whatnot, but I just completely forgot that that's how the Bears acquired DJ Moore. DJ Moore is a stud. We saw it last year with Justin Fields, and we're seeing it again this year. A little bit so far, but I'm sure we'll see it a lot more as the season goes on when him and Caleb kind of have a better connection. But yeah, man, Bryce Young officially benched. Crazy. To be fair to the guy, obviously doesn't have the most prolific weapons around him. But yeah, first 2 weeks, only 245 yards through the air, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns, and yeah, man, he just looked pretty horrendous. And yeah, if it's the goal for the Panthers to win a game, I definitely think Andy Dalton gives them a better chance as of right now. Andy Dalton he has more experience at this stage in his career, and the last 4 or 5 years, he's just been a solid veteran backup that could come in and, maybe win a few games. He had a pretty good run there with the Saints a few years ago. He's been in Carolina for a minute now, and I think it'll definitely make the Panthers more competitive, but it's just tough, man. What a sad franchise indeed. And for the owner, David Tepper, I just think this is all just kind of karma in some sick, twisted way. There were reports in the Bryce Young draft that Josh McCown and Frank Reich actually preferred CJ Stroud over Bryce Young, but I don't know how true those reports were, but it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. Like, what if the Panthers drafted CJ Stroud? Would he still be the CJ Stroud we all know? I think he definitely would be, but would he be as good as he was a year ago or how he looked so far this year? Probably not, just because of the weapons around him. But as far as Bryce Young, you gotta think that like his days in Carolina are probably numbered. I'm sure he'll get another crack at being the QB1 in Carolina sometime this year, but it's going to be a really, really short leash, and I don't see them flat out cutting him in the offseason, but if anyone wants to offer any sort of compensation via trade, I think they will definitely just try to do that, and hopefully along with that, David Tepper sells his shares of the team. You got to get that guy out of there if you're going to want any chance to build a solid foundation and one day build a successful team again. I mean, the days of Cam Newton and the Panthers being in the playoffs is just like, feels like that happened in the medieval times or something. It's a long way down, bro. It's a long way down in football. It's a long way down in life, and we're seeing it exhibit A right here with the Carolina Panthers. But let me know if y'all think this is a good move. Do you agree with benching Bryce Young? Do you not? Do you think Bryce Young has a future with the Panthers? Do you think he has a future in the NFL? It's another great question, sadly. But if the goal is for the Panthers to actually win games this year, then I agree with it. I think you have to bench Bryce Young. Andy Dalton does give you a better chance, but if you're just trying to tank and maybe get another quarterback again, then you might as well keep him in the chamber and just ride it out for one more year. Then get the #1 overall pick again and try again. It's not a bad plan, because you never know. You never know. With the QB class of 2025, it just takes one guy to be really special, and then things can slowly start turning around. So I don't know. At the same time, like, if you're a Panthers fan, you might as well try to go 0 for 17, because like this isn't working with Bryce Young. He's not going to be the future of the franchise. So I see both sides to that argument. Looking into the future of Bryce Young, just his career in general, like I said, I feel like he'll get one more shot at being the starter for the Panthers this year, and then that could be it, regardless if you're a fan of him or not. It's coming to an end very quickly and very abruptly. But as far as his future in the NFL, I'm sure one team, or who knows, maybe a handful of teams would be interested in acquiring his services for some sort of backup project role. For an example, like, look what Matt LaFleur and company did with Malik Willis. Malik looked pretty awful with the tight ends, and you know what? He got a win at home in Green Bay against the Colts. You know, I'm pretty sure that was his first ever win. He went 10 for 14. You know, they had a good game plan around him, and he looked competent out there. So I feel like some great offensive-minded coach like Kevin O'Connell or, you know, Sean McVay could definitely put Bryce Young in kind of a similar spot like that. I don't think Bryce Young will ever be a starter in this league, but crazier things have happened. He just looks really small out there, and not only that, he's going to be dealing with his confidence being completely shot. So I think him being a backup somewhere in this league is definitely the most likely outcome for all the people who want to over-exaggerate and call and say that he's going to go to the UFL. I think that's just exaggerating a bit much. Bryce Young got drafted #1 overall for a reason. He still has some skill. Has it translated to the NFL? No, not at all. He looks slow, he looks small, and his arm looks very average. But like I said, backup quarterback, project, you have a good game plan around him, have some better weapons. I feel like he could be effective if he has to step in for an injured starting quarterback for a game or two. But starting quarterback in the NFL, I think that's out of the question at this point in time. Let me know if y'all agree with my take there. Maybe a bit positive, maybe not. Regardless, time will tell. Panthers actually have a pretty big week coming up, believe it or not. Week 3, they're on the road against the Raiders. I feel like that's kind of a winnable game. I would have said it's definitely a lot more winnable, but the Raiders just went on the road and beat the Ravens. Crazy, crazy win. Probably going to make a vid about that, because that was just shocking for all the right reasons and all the wrong ones. But yeah, after the Raiders, they have the Bengals, the Bears, the Falcons, the Commanders. So really, out of all those games, I feel like their most likely one to win is the Raiders. But still, that seems like a big stretch. We'll have to find out. Just a pretty sad day for the Panthers franchise as a whole. You know, Bryce Young was really supposed to be that guy. You know, you draft quarterback #1 overall. He's supposed to be the savior. He's supposed to be the guy, and just hasn't been that way at all. It's been really a disastrous last 2, 3, 4, 5 years in Carolina. So, you know, rough times, but I'm a Broncos fan, so I can kind of relate. So yeah, man, let me know what y'all think. Do you agree with benching Bryce Young or not? And how many games do you think the Panthers are going to win this year? 1, 2, 0-17 perhaps? All very likely. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
football on that throw and catch.
They jam it in on the goal line. Touchdown. The Rams heading back onto the field on offense. They scored on their last drive, Phil, and they did it with a blistering aerial attack.
Quarterback is hot. He is getting protected.
And intercepted. Tackles made. Not. The Rams just gave up some big turnover points. And let's see if they can hold on to the football this time, Phil, because we know how crucial it is. We talked to the coaches about it this week. This was their concern with this team.
Well, he won it on his way.
The 20, the 10, all the way home and all alone. Touchdown.